So my name's Charlotte Winder. I'm a veterinarian and I have a DVSC in ruminant health management from the Ontario Veterinary College. I'm an assistant professor at the college in the Department of Population Medicine. My research interests include young stock performance, pain control, and knowledge translation and synthesis. For the National Dairy Study, I focused on the management of heifer calves on Canadian dairy farms. So one of the key takeaways from the calf feeding questions was the amount of milk fed per calf per day. About 2/3 of Canadian dairy producers are feeding 6 litres or more a day. So this is a great finding, I think. We know traditionally calves have been fed 2 litres twice a day, so 4 litres a day, and we know that this volume really isn't sufficient to meet calves' nutritional requirements. To go with this, one of the other findings that we looked at was calf mortality. So for calf mortality, we asked producers to voluntarily report how many heifer calves died within the calendar year surveyed. Our average calf mortality was around what we expected. It was just over 6%. This is very similar to data found in the US as well. But just like calf feeding, there was a huge range of variation. So we had some farms with very, very low calf mortality and others that were quite high. And again, this highlights some opportunities that can be found on some farms that might be challenged with a high level of calf mortality. So one of the other areas that we looked at with the National Dairy Study was disbudding and dehorning practices for heifer calves. So one of the main areas that we looked at here was the use of pain control, and the results were quite encouraging. So we found that a large number of dairy producers are using local anesthetic to control the acute pain associated with these practices. We also found about 1/3 are using sedation and 1/3 are using an NSAID, so a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, to help for the inflammatory pain that occurs after. These results, looking at previous surveys, so this is the first national survey that's been done, but looking at provincial surveys done over the last 10 years, this indicates that we're really making progress in Canada. So a lot more producers are adopting the use of pain control, and I think that's very promising. It also highlights that we still have a little ways to go, so we still would like to see full adoption of both local anesthetic and NSAID analgesia, so non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. And I think this also highlights an opportunity for veterinarians, who are the purveyors of these drugs, to really establish best practices for disbudding pain control and make sure that this is communicated to the dairy industry and help train producers on how to administer these drugs properly. One last interesting finding with the disbudding dehorning section was with the use of local anesthetic. So we found that producers who use local anesthetic for these practices were more likely to report using social media to both connect with other producers and also as a source of information itself. Moving on from here, my research is going to further explore pain control use for disbudding and dehorning, including the impact of early life nutrition on wound healing and pain. As well, a large component of my work involves knowledge translation and transfer, and so we're going to be exploring different strategies to mobilize the information that we have and provide it to end users, as well as collaborate with our end users and industry to determine what would be most useful moving forward. Visit nationaldairystudy.ca to learn more information about our research. Thanks for watching.